that to somebody in North Dakota, they think it's a frisk. Drop their hand on the side, you know.
Alright, so on to the next 2020 lovely candidate. And now we're going to talk about Miss Elizabeth Warren. Whew. Boy, do we have a lot of material here to go over. So, obviously, first and foremost, there's the Native American scandal. We might as well go ahead and talk about that one, get that one out of the way. So, apparently, Elizabeth Warren put down on some documentation. I think it was to get into college. She was of Native American descent, basically. And she insisted this. Now, of course, people fought back on it for years. She never apologized for it. And first of all, it was abundantly clear she was not a member of any tribe. She most certainly is not what most people would look at and deem someone that's a Native American, because for one thing, she has blonde hair and blue eyes, and the last time I checked, that is the role model, okay, for what Hitler wanted the entire world to be. Now, I'm not making a connection between Warren and Hitler, so do not take me in the wrong context. It's just the point. She is a blonde-haired, blue-eyed white person. When you meet someone from a Native American tribe that has that much Native American that they are recognized and they are in the tribe, and they have blonde hair and blue eyes, I want to see them. When people can start showing me that, I'll retract my entire complaint on this entire issue, and I'll shut my mouth. Okay? I'm the type of guy, if you can come with the facts, present your case well, I'll shut my mouth. We'll leave it at that. And if need be, I'll even make an apology video. But until I see that, no. But she persisted. Of course, Trump came up with the whole Pocahontas thing. Typical Trump. Some like it, some don't. But it was definitely effective. And it got her to fight back. She tried to keep on insisting that she was a Native American. Matter of fact, let's just take a look at that for a moment.
Pocahontas. I mean, Pocahontas, Elizabeth Warren, seriously.
Trump seizing on Warren's claim that she is part Native American, even once leveling this challenge.
I will give you $1 million to your favorite charity, paid for by Trump, if you take the test and it shows you're an Indian.
Trump claims that Warren used her heritage to help her get ahead, but there is no evidence it advanced her career. Still, today, the Massachusetts senator who's eyeing a 2020 White House run took up the president's challenge, releasing this video showing her receiving the results of a DNA test.
What do the facts say?
The facts suggest that you
absolutely have a Native American ancestor in your pedigree.
Warren was told she had a Native American ancestor in the range of 6 to 10 generations ago. But tonight, the president is scoffing at the results.
How much? 1,000?
Do you owe her an apology?
No, I don't.
What about the money that
I owe her. She owes the country an apology. What's the percentage? 1,000?
As for that $1 million offer,
I'll only do it if I can test her personally. Okay, that will not be something I enjoy doing either.
Okay, so that was the video of, or clip from ABC of Warren getting her DNA tested to prove she had some Native American heritage. And, of course, Trump's remarks following up. Now, of course, ABC, corporate news, has to put their spin like there's no evidence that her doing this benefited her career. Okay, whether it benefited her career or not, she shouldn't have been claiming to be Native American if she was not really the majority of her genetics being Native American. Just because she had it somewhere in her ancestry doesn't mean crap. I've been told by my family I've got Native American in my ancestry. Do I put it down on paperwork for whatever the reason? No. Look at me. I identify as white Caucasian. I look like a white Caucasian. That's what I am. Just because I was told that there was Native American in my heritage, maybe there was. Maybe there's more than Elizabeth Warren, and we're about to get to that. But it doesn't matter. It does not matter. I'm not part of a tribe. I wasn't born to, parents who were part of a tribe, or even the grandchild or great-grandchild of some people that were in a tribe. If there's any Native American in my heritage, it's so many generations back. I'm definitely not part of a Native American tribe at this point in time. So that same standard should really be applied to a lot of people, in all honesty. Now, let's talk statistics. Everybody's welcome to look this up. Okay, they did a little inspection. Now, let's take a look briefly at a picture done by CBS News with a percentage, because the DNA test, what you kept hearing was 6 to 10 generations ago. Well, they ran an estimate on about just how much Native American Elizabeth Warren probably has in her. So let's just take a look at that real quick. All right, so what you see in front of you here from CBS this morning, this is a screenshot. Report suggests Warren is 1/64th or less Native American. Okay, let's keep that statistic in mind for just a moment, and then I'm going to put another picture up on the screen and we'll read from that. Okay, so you may have a hard time reading that picture, but this is a screenshot from the website geneticliteracyproject.org, and I'm going to read what it says just in case anyone has trouble. I had to use the snip tool, and I've captured this over. But let's read what it says. In the largest study of its kind conducted so far, researchers at 23andMe and Harvard University have published the results of a genetic analysis of ancestry among the American people. Now it goes from there, and it just basically goes through who was being tested. But the three major population groups, it said, considered in the study are African Americans, European Americans, and Latinos. Okay, broadly, the genomic analysis found that on average, the African American genome was 73% African, 24% European, and 0.8% Native American. Latinos, as expected, had significantly more Native American ancestry, with the average Latino genome being 18% Native American and 65.1% European and 6.2% African. With respect to European Americans, the percentages are much more different than African American or Latinos, with European American genomes being 98.6% European and 0.19% African and 0.18% Native American. Okay, so let's take for European Americans, because clearly they had the lowest number of Native American genome, basically. Okay, 0.18. Now, if you do the math, and you can check me on this, and you break that down into a percentage, you would come out with 9/50. Okay, so doing reverse on that, breaking Elizabeth Warren's fraction back to a percentage, you would officially come out with a decimal number for Elizabeth Warren's 1/64th of 0.015. That is quite the difference. So basically, what this study is showing is that the average white European American has more Native American in them than Elizabeth Warren has in her. So while she does have a tiny little sliver of Native American ancestry, if that makes her Native American, then every single person in this country, for the most part, that falls within those three categories, the average person of them would be considered Native American. Who knew we still had that many Native American people around in this country? I had no idea that there were that many people that could claim Native American. And maybe the reason why is because they can't. Because Elizabeth Warren is not a Native American. If you don't want to believe me, then let's hear it from her own mouth.
I am not a tribal citizen. I had a good conversation last week with Chief Baker, who is chief of the Cherokee tribes, and I told Chief Baker that I am sorry that I extended confusion about tribal citizenship and tribal sovereignty.
So, Senator, why did you list yourself as an American Indian on this Texas bar application?
When I was growing up in Oklahoma, I learned about my family the same way most people do. My brothers and I learned from our mom and our dad and our brothers and our sisters, and those were our family stories. But that said, there really is an important distinction of tribal citizenship. I am not a member of a tribe.
Boom. So, there you go. She finally admitted it. But what did it take for it to get to that point? How long did she have to fight back against Trump, continuing to try to fight the fight to prove her case, only to come out in the end and finally admit, yeah, I kind of telling a little fib. Just kind of telling a little bit of a fib. No, Liz, something like that is not a fib. You are a blonde-haired, blue-eyed woman who really tries to pander up to people, just like this, for example.
There we go. I'm glad for everybody who's joining this video. It's great to hear from you. Hold on a sec. I'm going to get me a beer. Hey, Clover, my husband Bruce is now in here. You want a beer?
No, I'll pass on the beer for now.
You sure? Come over and say hello to folks.
Yes.
So, this is my sweetie.
Hello.
He's the best. And I'm crazy. I love you too. Thank you for being here.
Pleasure.
I'm glad you're here.
Enjoy your beer.
So, who have we got here so far that I can see? Gabmar, good to see you. Hello. Happy New Year to you.
So you turned to beer. You turned to beer, and you thought that by going and taking the AOC approach and getting on Instagram and going and getting a beer from your refrigerator, that's how you're going to pander up to us. And don't say it was anything but that. You were pandering. You were pandering. Flat out. And I got a general idea of who you were kind of trying to pander to. I don't know, maybe old hard-working, middle-class Americans, you know, because they're kind of known for drinking some beer. Like this guy, maybe. Yeah, well, you might have been dropping the bait, but I didn't bite. Now, hey, if you see this, Liz, drop me a comment. What kind of beer were you drinking? I like a lot of different beer. I'd be willing to bet you're probably drinking some bougie beer that even I wouldn't drink. More than likely. And I like to think I have a nice little taste for different types of beer. But it would not surprise me if you were drinking some crap that I wouldn't even pop the top off of. Wouldn't surprise me at all, actually. Nonetheless, beer. Pandering. Instead of trying to pander to the fact that working class people tend to drink beer, Liz, why don't you actually talk about more things that'll help Americans? Oh, that's right. You actually have talked about some plans. Of course, you're on the whole train. You want the Medicare for all, things of that nature. You're definitely in line with a lot of the more left policies that are more popular in Democratic Party Day. So kudos to you. You've actually talked about eliminating all student debt. You have proposed some ideas. Now let's examine one other thing that you have supposedly really fought back on since you've been in the U.S. Senate. One of those issues being you really pushed back and you have fought against big banks and corruption and the big bank and the greed and all that. Okay. And I've heard you on that, Liz. I've heard you. You talk a good game. You sound real nice. And I mean, it's very appealing to old common folks' ears when we hear people really calling the big corrupt bankers and such out on their crap. Hey, for people like me who study it sounds great. Except, Liz, now, I was no fan of this particular candidate really either. Of course, we will be getting to them in one of these videos. But in 2016, out of the two main Democrats who were running for president, okay, two main Democrats. Of course, there were two other guys that got up on that stage too that were a complete waste of space. I honestly don't even remember their names off the top of my head. But you had Clinton, you had Sanders. Okay. Now, one of those candidates was very well known for giving nice big speeches to bankers. One of those candidates was the First Lady when her husband, at the time the president, was involved in a lot of Wall Street deregulation, repealing Glass-Steagall. Okay. One of those candidates was very known for being very cozy with Wall Street. And one of those candidates who had a message, what sounds like is your message, as far as Wall Street corruption and the big banks are concerned. One of those candidates seemed to really want to crack down and really rein in all that big bank corruption, trying to finance campaigns and rein in all the wealthy Wall Street people, and really put a cap on all of that, trouble up there on Wall Street. Really wanted to, change the status quo, make change. Now, what they would have done had they been elected, I seem to think they might have actually followed through on that one. Okay. Now, Liz, it was Clinton and Sanders. Obviously, we've established those were the candidates. Does anyone remember which one represented which? Hillary Clinton, obviously, was Wall Street's choice. Wall Street's choice. And she was so corrupt, she rigged the primaries against Bernie. Whether you agree with Bernie or not, she rigged those primaries because the DNC was going under. So the Clinton Foundation and the Clinton campaign basically all got together with the DNC. They basically propped up the DNC. By propping up the DNC in turn became basically campaign wing for Clinton. They rigged it up against her. They gave her debate questions early. They set it all up. All of the super delegates wanted to jump in behind Clinton. It was that there wasn't a thumb on the scale. There was a brick on that scale. Okay, there was a brick on that scale, and it was so lopsided from the get-go. Clinton, Sanders. Okay, but nonetheless, Sanders sounded very much like you when it came to the Wall Street. Most of your policies were way more in line, so you said, with Sanders than they were Clinton. So why did you throw your support behind Hillary? And maybe that explains why the mainstream news media is starting to warm up to you so much. Because maybe, just maybe, Liz, you're no different than the rest of the politicians, and maybe they know that. Maybe they know you're just like other politicians who talk a big game to get their election, but when it comes time to get into office, you've got the big money in mind. Now, maybe you don't take donations from up front so you can keep having that as your argument, but it doesn't make sense, Liz, if you really believed in those issues the way that you said, why you backed Hillary over Bernie. Not that I was really rooting for Bernie to win, but you didn't back Bernie. He sounds a lot like you. Why didn't you back Bernie? Instead, you backed one of the most corrupt individuals to ever set foot in politics. Yet you argue against corruption. Again, Liz, you make yourself look bad when you do things like this, and you expect people to not pick up on it. So, in regards to Elizabeth Warren, for 2020, overall review, thank you for tuning into this episode of The Independent Report. If you liked the video, please hit that like button, and please subscribe to the channel. If you subscribe, ring that bell so you'll receive notifications when we drop new videos. I'm trying to grow this channel and inform more people of what's going on in the world around them. Thank you for your support, and we hope you tune in next time.